about, and I'm going to read the two paragraphs that are this bill. It shall be a violation of subsection A for a recipient of federal financial assistance who operates, sponsors, or facilitates athletic programs or activities to permit a person whose sex is male to participate in an athletic program or activity that is designated for women or girls. For the purpose of this subsection, sex shall be recognized based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. What we're saying in this bill is that if you were born a male, then you cannot participate in, you cannot compete against people born as female. It's very simple. And I'd like to, Mr. Chairman, put into the record an article called, entitled, "A Biologist Explains Why Sex is Binary" by Colin Wright, Wall Street Journal, April 9, 2023. I'd like to submit that. Thank you very much. This is very simple again. We're talking about people born as males not participating against people born as females. It's so simple. And it has nothing to do, not one word in here talks about targeting trans people, giving physical examinations. None of the things that our colleagues have said here. This is ridiculous what you are saying.
No, excuse me, I reclaim my time. What is ridiculous is that we're spending time with all the problems that we're faced, including a spike in gun violence against children. What is ridiculous is that we are here debating this.
No, we're here to protect women.
You can't even define, you say you don't even know what a trans woman or a trans girl is, but yet you want to ban them from playing in sport.
No. The word trans is nowhere in this bill.
Well,
it says...
We all know what this bill is about. We all know what this bill is about.
No, this bill says if you're a biological male, you cannot participate against biological females. It's as simple as that.
And
that is what it boils down to.
And so you do not believe that trans women are women?
They're males, sorry. If they were born as males, they're males. Right. There's no way to change your biological sex.
So we just learned that we can't identify a single case where somebody was denied a scholarship because of what is happening right now, and yet there's this urgency to bring this legislation to the floor to somehow protect people. I don't quite get it, Mr. DeCano. Can you explain what the urgency about this is, and I mean, and was this the first bill that was marked up in the Education Committee?
It's one of two first markup bills
of all the issues out there.
Yeah.
In terms of issues protecting kids in school, this is like the top one or two issues that the Education Committee thinks is vital to bring to the floor.
And Mr. McGovern, the moral panic that the chairwoman is attempting to create over this case of the athlete competing in intercollegiate sports, winning a competition, this bill would do nothing to affect that. This bill is about banning sports participation of transgender girls and women in K-12 and college sports, but it would not effectively deal with whether or not in elite competition there's this question over trans women participating. This bill has nothing to do with that. This bill would not remedy the concern that the chairwoman raised. And let me also say that the real harm here is the exclusion from participation of trans young people, trans kids, trans middle school kids, trans high school kids, for whom the huge value of sports is about participation. It's about connection to community. And this bill would stigmatize them. This bill would separate them out. This bill would subject them to even more isolation than the bullying that they often face and the physical dangers. Trans kids are in need of our protection, not of stigmatization. And despite these words not being in the text of the bill, the effect of this bill would be exactly that. Let me just sort of read one of the final paragraphs from the governor of Utah, his veto message. The governor of Utah, as he vetoed a very similar bill, and he wrote it to so Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, wrote to Stuart Adams, who was the president of the Senate, and Brad Wilson, the Speaker of the House of Utah. He said, there's one more important reason for this veto, I must admit. He says, I'm not an expert, on, I quote, on transgenderism. I struggle to understand much of it, and the science is conflicting. When in doubt, however, I try to err on the side of kindness, mercy, and compassion. I also try to get proximate, and I'm learning so much from our transgender community. There are great kids who face enormous struggles, and here are the numbers that have most impacted my decision. 75,000, 4, 1, 86, and 56. 75,000 high school kids participating in high school sports in Utah. 4 transgender kids playing high school sports in Utah. 1 transgender student playing girls' sports. 86% of trans youth reporting suicidality. The chairwoman claims, this is not the governor's words, but I just want to insert, claims that she doesn't know anything about trans. 56% of trans youth having attempted suicide. 4 kids and only 1 of them playing girls' sports. That's what this is all about? 4 kids who aren't dominating or winning trophies or taking scholarships? 4 kids who are just trying to find some friends and feel like they're part of something? 4 kids trying to get through each day. Rarely has so much fear and anger been directed at so few. I don't understand what they are going through or why they feel the way they do, but I want them to live. And all the research shows that even a little acceptance and connection can reduce suicidality significantly. For that reason, as much as any other, I have taken this action in the hope that we can continue to work together to find a better way. If a veto override occurs, I hope we can work to find ways to show these 4 kids that we love them and that they have a place in our state. I was getting moved just reading that statement from the Republican governor of Utah. My respect and admiration for him just grew enormously just having those words registered. I would implore the members of this committee to heed his words seriously.
Well, I thank you for that, and I too, I think those were very moving words by the Republican governor of Utah, who's not playing to the cheap seats, who's actually putting the well-being of the people he represents first and foremost. I mean, the bottom line is this bill is not about protecting kids or children or anything. This is a bill that is an attempt to try to drive another wedge in our society, to try to create an issue where there isn't one, and in doing so, will directly impact in a very negative way a vulnerable community in this country that are already the subject of bullying and ostracization, and I may go right down and you're going to see more young people turn to suicide, more young people go down the road of depression and feel like that they're not worth anything, that we're questioning their dignity. As I said in the beginning, I think this is just an awful, rotten thing to do. This is, and my friends on the other side, the creepy obsession with these issues is really, I think, beneath what we should be doing at this point. You want to protect children? I mean, kids are getting murdered every day in gun violence, and here we are talking about this. I mean, I don't. There's a disconnect here. Maybe this polls well amongst the small, amongst the MAGA base or whatever, or maybe you can find ways to raise money off this. But this is not responsible legislating. This is a terrible thing to do at this point. And so let's get on with this, and again, let's get it over with, and hopefully the Senate doesn't take it up, and I trust the President would veto it if it ever reached his desk. But we should be about bringing people together, about promoting understanding and respect for everybody, for promoting the idea that everybody is worth something, everybody has dignity, and here we are dealing with this, which will promote bigotry and hate, and quite frankly, I think will result in more young people taking their lives, and I think that's a terrible, terrible thing. I yield back.
Gentlelady from Minnesota is recognized.